Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Meeple has landed.
Everyone, and welcome to the Vitruvian Meeples production of The Powers That Be. I'm here with Patrick, ECAT, Matt, Julie, and Ray for issue 18 of our streamed game. This one's called There Goes the Neighborhood. I'm scared. I think you should be too. But in the meantime, I'm going to pass it over to Patrick. Patrick, please take us back into the world of Excelsior.
All right. So following your multi-week, at least in game, out of game terms, delve into somebody else's property, an abandoned laboratory, wherein you found all sorts of fascinating things about, yourselves. And then, of course, in the basement of the biggest top secret location, you ran into the Order of Magnitude, who were busy dismantling a portal and pulling out a mysterious orange rock, which you guys got your hands on by literally stealing it like candy from a child, and then hopping it around amongst several of you until eventually it got into your personal possession. And of course, you assisted them with removing a couple generators that were going to explode if something wasn't done to them. So whether or not that was a good or a bad thing, I will leave up to you. And then, of course, as soon as you get back, bright and early in the morning, to have some coffee before heading off to bed, the circus comes to town, and you got to see the Circus King riding upon an elephant heading towards Rikers Island, which, as you all know, was recently put up for sale and is now apparently going to be home to a circus. A couple days have passed because you needed to recuperate from a lot of the things that happened there, especially those of you who came into contact with the mysterious orange rock. And so now most of the bruises are starting to fade, feeling a little bit better. And of course, as always, y'all are meeting, hanging out in the local Sunbucks.
Drinking all the coffee.
Yep.
Yep. And I'm like face first into one of those like gigantic, big as your head, chocolate chip muffins.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
Nice.
with the chocolate chip muffin, since they heat them up a bit, the one barista drops it off the table, and for some reason she steps next to Gene, leans over in front of him, so her chest is just rubbing up against his face, so she can drop this on in front of you, and oh, thank you, and all, and steps back and kind of rubs a hand across Gene's neck as she goes back to flinging coffee.
Subtle.
Are you gonna do something about that?
I believe
My
they call
foot-
this a small hint.
My foot hurts from her dropping hints so hard.
As long as you keep it out of your mouth.
Or out of
At least
somebody's
try.
ass.
Well, at least wait until the third date to find out if she's into that or not.
You kids.
I mean, seriously, dude, any second now, she's just gonna drape herself on this table. Starkers.
Ooh, I'm in the
Oh,
mood
that
for
is.
sushi.
Oh my God! They'll be like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Wearing nothing but a cowboy hat, a bandana, and a pair of
Smile.
well-worn caps.
Yep.
So,
And a salmon and avocado roll.
So I guess what you're all saying, I should just take
that.
this one for the team.
Yes.
Fine.
I
So-
mean, I'm getting a whole lot of hesitancy coming from you, which seems a little odd given the circumstances. I mean, I'm really not good with people, but even I can tell that.
well, y'all did watch her shoot people, or plants actually, but
Mhm.
so there might be some of that, the concern that, if a date doesn't go well, he might end up with a bullet in his head, or maybe, 12 of them. She's pretty quick.
He can-
Yeah.
Or just, the whole trust thing, considering what I've been through prior to about 6 months ago. Not exactly rushing out to dive back into the date pool.
Who said date?
Fair enough.
Who said date?
Okay, so at this point,
And I just get my phone and I pull aside and I just start Googling things. Hold on.
at this point, I kind of grab him by the lapels and pull him a little closer. I said, "Gene smash."
That one I get.
So
Set my
Gene's
phone
pulling
down.
up things on Google, like, how do kids ask people out for dates these days?
Get up on it. Grab it like you want it.
I can lend you one of my medical textbooks if you need a refresher on how to do things. Come on.
I just need to know how to do them, not what they're called.
Oh, so you don't need to know her name? Okay.
So there's a little chime on your cell phone there, and there's a PDF of the Kama Sutra. It just shows up, and Jack, reaches into his pocket, pulls out a couple condoms, and throws them at you.
Always be safe.
Fine. I set my phone down. I pick my phone back up, go back to the home screen, lock it, then set my phone back down again. Grab my coffee cup, and I saunter up to the counter, but not before turning back to Crash and going, "What? Barista isn't accurate enough?"
So Gene or Crash by this point, as you left, has started up, very lightly tapping his fists on the table, going, "Gene, Gene, 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 come on, Gene." When he turns around and look back, I give him a big exaggerated, fully
And
hoping that she's watching.
I mutter, I turn back around, but I mutter just audibly enough. It's like, of all the times for Crash not to simply bugger off.
Oh, I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Yeah.
That's what I was afraid you were going to say.
Where's the fun in that?
So, saunter finally up to the bar, step and a half out. I just look back to see what else y'all be doing, and just
Literally, like,
I see you all doing this, and that Grinch like little curled up smiles, all of you.
Okay, so at this point,
no, Cheshire Cat. Thank you very much.
From
Fine.
somewhere, you're not actually sure where, Crash has produced a small vuvuzela and a pennant that just for some reason says Gene that he's waving back and forth wildly.
But it's only about this long.
That's between you and her. Or at least hopefully it will be soon.
Yeah, this episode is definitely not rated for anybody below the age of 18.
Except we're all acting like we're 13,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you know.
12.
Hey.
We're all 12.
Some people say gaming is for kids, but it's not. It's just for people who act like kids.
Like
There you
kids.
go.
Yes.
There we go.
Dude, I'd rather be fighting frickin'
So-
Grendel. So I walk
You-
up to the counter. And then I see my fan turn around and like give me the, oh, can I help you? It's like, yes. Could I please have a refill of the medium cold brew mocha, and to find out what you might be doing 2 nights from now.
Crash is now mimicking the sound of an airplane
Yep.
crashing.
Yeah. Just a Messerschmitt augering into the ground over, you know.
More like a piece of Schmidt, but
So, Patrick,
Seat.
what's the difficulty of breaking the password on Gene's phone?
That is a very good question. Let me go check my reference here.
Why y'all got to be this way?
Since you
Cause-
love
Yeah, right. Sure.
you're our leader.
Uh-huh.
you picked us.
Oh, I'll be leading you, all right.
This is why they pay you the
I
billions.
would say cracking a modern cell phone will be in the challenging range. So that is a 5.
Okay.
Yes. There we go.
So you
This
pick
this
it
is
up,
what you use your rolls for.
you hold it at kind of a raking angle. You look at the numbers and you're like, oh wait, he's old. 86753. Hey, it's open.
It's not. No. Oh
It's
my
what an
God.
idiot would have on their password.
No, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The same combination I have on my luggage.
So she leans forward conspiratorially and says, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, but I know my friend Calamity is going to be out having a good time.
Calamity.
Remember, you have met Calamity.
We have.
She's the one that
Yes.
helped us with the plant.
Oh, she's the sharpshooter?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I forgot the name. I honestly like
Smooth.
Meanwhile, her
Smooth
name
man.
tag, of course, says
Jane.
Jane.
yeah.
But the question is
Ah,
she
so,
a neighborhood slut?
I mean,
Right.
it depends how he rolls.
So what, find a new she find a new target range.
Oh yes, always.
Hmm.
You always have to ride around the ranch, make sure all the cattle's where it's supposed to be, all that good stuff. Sure, you understand that.
Oh.
She under no circumstances should be difficult to find if you're looking for her, of course.
Boy, the euphemisms the kids use these days.
I know, it's hard to keep up with the Zillennials.
Hey,
And
boomer.
Oh.
maybe
Oh, mind passing along a message that if she gets everything on target, that maybe And then Jean just sort of stares off and thinks, and you get the zoom. You get like this, the sudden close up. What was the TV show? I know there was like some TV show where then you hear the thoughts in the head, and I can't remember that either.
Herman's Head.
Thank you. Like,
I love that.
but you just hear it's like, what the hell am I doing? What the hell am I doing here? What really? Why? What do you think? Have you done the n divided by 2 over 7 plus 7 calculation? No, you haven't. You got no business doing this.
So as it zooms back out from that, it zooms in on Crash, and you hear, "What the hell is he doing? What the hell is he doing over there?"
He's panicking.
And zoom out.
Mm-hmm.
He needs a reboot.
And then so after
So
I
do
just
we
sort of get
rescue
my
him or not?
after I get out of that, I just go, tell her I'll look for her.
There's a good chance she'll be out at Astoria Park. That's one of her favorite riding places.
Excellent. I know where that is.
She hands you your drink, plops it up on the table, and then gives you the finger guns, blows them at the end, and then, puts them back, and then proceeds to take care of the next customer.
I turn around and just act like the coolest thing this side of the pillow. A little bit of a saunter, swagger, sipping my coffee while giving the whole little eyebrows thing. Set my coffee cup down, sit down, look at my phone.
I look around to the others. Oh, Lord, I think he thought that went well.
That was painful to watch.
I mean, he did get there in the end, though. Gotta give him credit for that.
Kinda.
He hit his forehead on the higher of the parallel bar, of the uneven bars, but still stuck the landing.
Yeah, basically.
It's a good
That's
thing
all she cares about in the end.
Man, wow. And this is coming from me, who hasn't had a date since 8th grade, okay? That was painful to watch.
So, last week. But...
Yeah.
Sip my coffee. And I go, and that's how it's done.
So are any of you checking the news?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, I need to check my fucking pulse.
Yeah, you're just sitting there riding out the end of your panic attack.
Yes.
Crash is now like kneeling in front of him, waving, fanning him with a towel like a boxing coach. Is that right, Chip? You'll get in the next round.
Just a bum, Rocky. Just a bum.
So, of interest, you see a article that mentions that the Queen's Gambit has tied up with the Order of Magnitude yet again. And there are, of course, as always, a couple pictures from your conflict, including one where you're watching the mysterious orange rock flying through the air, and Jack's, they're trying to catch it with his mask, but his face is turned just so you can't see it. Impressive.
This is getting kind of creepy, guys.
Just slightly.
And then, of course, there's an interesting article entitled "The Circus Comes to Town." And you see pictures of the circus parading in, and there's clowns having a great time and people cheering and being happy. And the last picture from the montage, of course, is the procession crossing the bridge over onto Rikers Island. And you see some of them are collecting in the parking lots there. There's still buildings there, of course, but mostly abandoned at this point.
Patrick, I want to go back to the story about us for a moment. There should be a photo credit for those pictures.
Why, yes. The photo credit is photos graciously provided by STEM.
Fuck you. And back down to the...
And you really think they're still the good guys, right?
Well, we never said they were the good guys. They were just the lesser of two evils.
Al, that was directed to our, dear leader.
Only two evils to deal with? What?
Yeah.
At the time.
At the time.
Don't think of them so much as the good guys. Just more like our suppliers.
They're the not quite as bad guys.
Mm.
They're the paycheck.
Yep.
Yeah, I've dealt with arms dealers that I trust better than these guys.
Yeah, because they didn't have as much bureaucracy instilled within them.
Yep. So what is the what else does the article say about the circus from Rikers Island?
So it says that the circus has arrived and it should be opening in approximately a week. And then some things about, the various attractions that are going to be there, the freak show and the clowns and all of the rides that are going to be there. And of course, that it costs like $5 a head just to walk in the door and, plus however much for tickets.
Yep.
So, we ready to
Pass this
jump
one
into
off.
another crazy town situation?
I still hold by my suggestion that we just let USA deal with this bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, can't you call into STEM or something and see if they've already allocated someone for this job?
You know what? I absolutely can.
Yeah.
Might as well
Some
make
of
them
us
decide.
have to go to class tomorrow.
So,
Maybe.
pull up my phone, I open it up, and the home screen reads, in Comic Sans no less, "Great job there, Romeo." I look at Jack, I look at my phone, I look at Jack. Okay. I put it up, and I pull up the contacts, and I start to dial in for STEM, but before I can, another app pings up, and it pulls up a window, and all of a sudden, at full volume on the phone, you start to hear Careless Whisper. And I'm looking for the little X, right? And it's like looking around, looking for the fucking X, and it's like it's not there. And I try to alter the volume on the phone, and it's not altering. And I'm just like looking down, and I'm looking up right at him and looking down till finally I was like, I set it down, slide it over to him, and it's like, make it stop.
Okay. Look around. Slide in for the holster. Nah, it's a coffee shop. Ah, shit. All right, take a look at it. I didn't rickroll you with George Michaels here.
Oh, that's not your work.
No.
And then you happen to look over to see Black Ice moving around on her phone, and suddenly it starts singing "I Want Your Sex."
All right.
I look over to Black Ice and go, "Et tu, Brute?"
So Crash has a little spiral notebook, and he'd already flipped open to a page that has a table with two columns, and the left column says Gene and the right column says Jack, and he'd already put a tally mark in under the Jack column. Now he makes a third column for ice and puts like 3. Gene's portion of the
All
table
right.
is, of course, pitifully empty.
Well, yes.
Do.
All right. So,
All right, here you go.
hope. Finally, cleared out the phone, and I dial up my trusty contact at STEM.
So the phone rings half the time. Hello, Marla. How can I help?
Hey, Marla. Hi. How are you doing today? It's Gen X.
I'm doing marvelously. How are you? Yes, of course.
Just. I glare across the table. Peachy. Doing great. So
I saw that you guys made the news again. Excellent coverage.
yeah, that's a story and a discussion for another time that we should really get into. But I actually have something else thinking about that I'm curious about. Is there anybody doing scouting on what's going on? What was the name of the island?
Rikers.
Riker.
Rikers.
Yeah, Ron Riker's island.
Oh, shouldn't that be you guys? I believe that is your territory.
Our territory. Of
Thing
course.
is,
Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
no one lives
Just
there, and it's physically connected to Ditmar Steinway, where you guys live, so it's part of Crowtown.
but still, like, we got anybody regional who's looking over just general movements across a greater area,
Oh,
like the
well,
whole borough?
we've been paying attention to what's been going on there. I noticed that the property has recently changed hands, and apparently the circus is moving in. So that sounds interesting.
Interesting.
Oh
Interesting.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that's a word
Oh
for it.
boy.
Which point
Oh
I
yeah, the
pick
guy.
up my phone and text him, be blunt.
So yeah, we've dealt with these people before, and the ringleader isn't exactly somebody who plays with the full deck. We're talking mind agents, we're talking uh psychosomatic influencing
Oh
hallucinogenic.
yes, Circus King is a one of the top tier villains out there. He is
Good.
accurately dangerous because of that.
Excellent. I'm so glad that you're aware of that as well as we are and can share the concern that we have for our community around us about the entire operation of the Circus King setting up on Rikers Island right across from where we are. Say, you know what? Remind me, please, just because we've been like doing our thing and it's been working out pretty well, and I'm kind of digging the group that we're pulling together here with the Gambit and all. But if we should need some, oh, I don't know, backup, like who do we get in touch with?
Oh, you have a lot of options, of course. There are other groups in your area. Right across the river, of course, you have Statesman. He's a very heavy hitter, extraordinarily experienced with dealing with top level villains. He is a top tier person himself. If you need some good advice and potentially some assistance, you can always get in touch with the Liberty League. We all work together, so I'm sure at least one of them will stop by and pay you a visit. And there are heroes everywhere in the greater Excelsior area. There's the highest density of powers in the entire planet. So if you need some help, you can get some backup for that, I imagine.
Excellent. I knew that we were, yeah, definitely fortunate in that regard, but just wanted to make sure, the good old hierarchy that STEM likes to follow, wouldn't want to cross a line somewhere and make somebody uncomfortable.
Oh no, of course not. Said it's a matter of how competent you believe you are and whether you're capable of handling the glory that comes with dealing with a situation like that by yourselves. But that's entirely up to you. And of course, there's several who can provide advice, especially for newer crews. That's why we're here.
Okay. Gosh, Marla, thanks. You've been a real peach today. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.
Anytime.
Next thing we need. Excellent. Thank you so much. Click.
Man, I didn't know somebody could get shot down twice in 5 minutes.
You just
This
got
is like-
shit-talked by Marla. How do you feel?
I just want to go
In
back
my
to bed.
mother lessons.
Well, that was fun. So, yeah, apparently the Circus King is right up our alley. And
Alley is not exactly the noun I was going to use in that sentence, but
nor mine, friendo, nor mine. But if we want to rope in some help, there's Statesman, there's the Liberty League, which I would prefer not. I forget, is USA part of the Liberty League?
He is the leader of the Liberty League.
Never mind.
Remember, the Liberty League is kind of like the large
Justice.
the Justice and people who avenge groups from other comic series. So,
Oh, yeah.
kind of like that.
Right.
It said, they will pick up when you call. You're not like a insubstantial group, especially at this point.
Okay. So, but yeah, they're definitely of the mind that this one is squarely in our wheelhouse. So, you're telling me. Okay.
All right.
Hmm.
We're going to go do this. I need more coffee.
Yeah.
Fill up the mug.
Fortunately for you, they aren't even set up yet.
Still.
And of course, if you want, you do have plenty of places to, see what's going on there without actually crossing the bridge to Gokers. As if you've seen the map, you guys, then you have LaGuardia Airport, and then Rikers is right above it, and all three of those are, your neck of the woods. So you're in it. You have that whole shoreline along the industrial area of Ditmar Steinway that oversees the wonderful place that is Rikers Island. Actually, I'm kind of wondering if the industrial area should, upgrade into something since, you no longer have the city's biggest prison right across the way.
Saint Eva,
Hmm.
question. When was the last time you stocked up on nuts?
I'm
I have
always
an idea.
packing.
I had just had a thought of sending out our scout team.
Yeah, I was having the same thought, but I was going to ask if Jack might by chance have some sort of electronic visual equipment that is small enough for our friends to carry and by chance do some surveillance.
Surveillance.
I'm sure we can figure something out, or at least have a quick talk with Tink to, get a small self-contained webcam or, other recording device. I mean, I was just thinking that I'd just set up on some rooftop with a pair of binoculars,
I mean,
but
if all we want is a recording device, I still have the GoPro.
Right.
And that's easy enough.
Yeah,
But if
we can go out and have a chat with our friends.
let's do that. I think that they could be persuaded with enough tasty treats.
Oh, I'm sure they can. So I get up, first go refill my like 700-ounce coffee thermos thing. That and then head outside, go across to the park area that's outside of Sunbucks. I whistle and reach into my pocket and throw up a handful of peanuts, waiting for the flock to come in.
Great. Well, let's chuck y'all outside.
Look at that.
So you're in the square outside of Sunbucks. And of course, as is becoming more and more the case in this part of the city, there's already crows freaking everywhere. Other birds, such as the pigeons and seagulls, seem to be kind of getting pushed out of the neighborhood by the proliferation of very, pretty sizable corvids. And so you go out, you haven't even reached into your pocket. They're already swooping down towards you like, she's going to feed us.
And I look around and I spot Knox, who has a very distinctive little bit of white on his chest, as opposed to all the others. Even though I call them all Knox, my Knox is right there. I look to Jack, because I'm going to assume we have the little doohickey thing.
well, it's Crash's GoPro.
Yeah.
Oh, Crash, whoever. I haven't had enough coffee yet, okay?
I know, and we look alike, so it's all,
Yeah, I toss it to you.
And I hold it up and I show it. I've got Knox on my arm and I show it to him. And I go, and I'm like, so, can you go take a look over at Rikers Island? Over that way?
It looks over, looks back at you, looks at your hand that has peanuts in it, says,
Sure.
Sure.
All right. Hand him the peanuts.
Starts picking apart the peanuts, grabbing a few of them, then grabs a whole bunch more of the shells and flies off, heading in the direction, and a few others follow along with him, of course.
But he's like the king raven, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the head of the head murderer.
The
All right.
Corvid commandant.
That's the best I can do at the moment. So if you want to still go up on the roof with a pair of binoculars, go for it. But
yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea to have, multiple.
Is it just Knox or do others follow him?
A few others. Knox has a crew that he hangs out with.
Yeah, because I was figuring, because then, okay. All right.
The territory is
Meanwhile,
a little strange out where you are because there's so many crows. It's hard to establish territory, so they're making larger family groups.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, I'm busy trying to appease the mass of corvids that have descended on us.
Well,
Meanwhile,
yeah.
I go back into Sunbucks, who started, as part of their little treats, have started selling these like little nut bars. And I buy half a dozen of them and make sure and put a nice little donation in the tip jar. And I bring this out I bring them out and I hand one to each of you, and it's like, let's appease them now, and so that just so we stay on good terms.
That's always important. Okay, so for places that you might want to check out the island from, once again, if you know pull up a map of the area, the closest places to the runways for LaGuardia come very close to intersecting with the island, so you could theoretically just kind of bum at the corner of one of those behind like a block or something and see things fairly on eye level, but pretty close. The airport terminal itself, if you get up on top of it, serves as a pretty good vantage point. Um, the other direction, you have the water treatment plant. Not necessarily the nicest place to hang out, but it does have a few taller containers that you can get on top of. The other direction, the industrial park, a couple of the buildings are relatively tall in order to stand on. Um, so those are going to end up being your best bets for places to kind of spy without really being seen. Because
Okay.
that if you go down to the industrial area, climb on top of a container or whatnot, it's really hard to see you. If you have good binoculars, you have a pretty good angle.
Okay.
So where do you think would be the best place for putting the GoPro someplace where it's not going to get found and screwed with?
It's on the bird.
Well,
Yeah, the
Oh, it's
bird's
on the
carrying
bird.
it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, the backup is yours truly, which how hard is it to get a hold of a workman's jumpsuit and a hard hat?
But
Oh, now we're going
Amazon's form.
full.
Because a, ethnically ambiguous person such as myself wearing some sort of uniform with a hard hat kind of just blends into the background. And
interestingly, the people
Hold
who
on.
work at places such as the water treatment plant and whatnot dress exactly like that.
yes, that's what I was thinking of, just, blending in with them. And
Why do we need Amazon whenever we still have this lovely little hole in the ground with people that we've made good relations with in the last couple of weeks? If we're
Oh.
gonna
Yeah.
bring up leverage, let's go full leverage. So, I text the head troll and see if he can find anybody who spots any worker gear being left unattended and a decent reward for its return to the Sunbucks within the next 10 minutes.
I was just thinking going to Cherokee Workwear or something.
But this is much more fun.
All right. Make it harder.
This not make it harder. It's
Cheaper.
We are building and maintaining relationships within our community for the betterment of society.
That expense account is a little stressed, isn't it, Gene?
So
Did he just give us a mission statement?
yeah, so and by like halfway through it, Crash was behind him doing the doing the mimicking of the facial or of the body movements.
So
At some point, I'm going to be able to feel the air moving behind me and know that it's you.
Okay, then just start doing it phased.
So the internet troll responds back with, "Okay, me post on dark web." 5 minutes later, some kid with a whole bunch of piercings and a really questionable haircut rolls in on a skateboard, walks over, drops a pile of overalls, boots, gloves, and hard hats onto one of the chairs, and then looks around like he's expecting to get paid for it.
I lean over to Jack and I say, $5 says that Ice could probably do better with this guy than Jean did with Bursta.
Yeah, if she's into that. I don't know how much, facial jewelry is acceptable or not.
I overhear that. I look up at the guy who's obviously waiting for something, grab a napkin, write down a series of numbers, and hand it to the guy and say, "There's your payment."
Oh,
I
for real,
simply,
for real.
I simply hold out a hand like this towards Jack. Don't even look.
And he hops on his skateboard and rolls off back in the direction from which he came, seeming pretty happy with himself.
And I very slowly take my hand off of my back pocket where I was reaching for my wallet and go, good. That worked out so much. And look down at the box, look at everybody and go, see? Now we have enough for all of us.
Yay! Let's make
Yeah, I
it a
have a
stakeout
date.
party. Well, so does Jean, too.
Yeah, well.
Meanwhile, Paul's looking at one of the helmets like, cut a couple holes in this or something.
Yeah.
Pin back the ears, kitty cat.
Hairnet.
Rumble.
Crash will simply phase invisible.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll be fine.
Oh, you'll
Go
be
off.
fine. Now,
Put the gear on anyway in case you decide to wear yourself out again and we need to still make you look unnoticeable.
Things I do.
so Pa,
Yes.
your eyesight's pretty good, isn't it?
Yes.
All right. Why don't you take your choice of lookout points that's probably like closest, because you, just by the nature of being your glorious person, can be stealthy enough and check out what's going on all by your lonesome while we play dress up and use gadgets. And has Crash, have you phased?
No, I'm back to
this
visible
point?
at this point.
You're back to visible at this
Mhm.
point. As like while we deal with playing dress up, and I go to put my hand through Crash as if he was phased, like because he had just, when I started talking to her, he was still phased, but now he came back visible and basically, and whatever Crash does over here.
So, Pa, of interest to you, another location you could look at this from is on the Bronx side, from the other side of the island.
There are multiple
And
viewpoints that we.
Mm-hmm.
This is important because the Bronx, unlike places like Queens and Brooklyn and Manhattan that are protected by various and sundry large heroes and groups, the Bronx is completely overseen by the Atom family.
Yeah.
So that's, she's fine in that territory wherever she wants to go. Like if she wants to go hang out on top of a warehouse in Hunts Point, by all means, nobody's going to look at her cross-eyed because like, oh, well, a cat wants to climb up on top of the building, go right the fuck ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, now I'm just, hold
Nobody
on.
lives there if they don't like atoms.
So does somebody want to take the airport so we get a good triangulation on this?
Sure.
I figured I figured Crash, if you'd be best for that because you can definitely remain unseen.
Yep.
And then
And flying over the airport's probably not the wisest decision anyway.
no, it's not.
That's how you get hit by an airplane.
Or some really
Any-
pissed off traffic controllers.
Anybody who knows how to fly, of course, understands things like you have to know where the airplanes fly locally because you don't want to get hit by one of them. It hurts a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't hurt you, you're going to hurt them, and that'll be even worse.
Because then they send you the bill.
Seems like
Yeah.
something statesmen would accidentally do. Oh, I got hit by a jet and it knocked its wing off. Ah, crap.
Again.
Again. Yeah, the paperwork on that probably sucks.
Patrick
Exactly.
never works.
Jack, what do you like?
Well, I was going to take the water treatment plant. That was
Sounds
my
good.
idea.
Saving all the glamorous jobs for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Well, it
as I
seems
said,
to just
You know, ethnically ambiguous person in a pair of coveralls and a hard hat.
So I am not
You know.
only going to go and hang out in Hunts Point, I'm going to go hang out at the freaking fish market that's right on the water.
I'm going with Pa because she's got the car.
I was just
Okay.
gonna ask who you wanted to tag along with, or if you were
I'll go with her.
okay. Very good. And I'll go head out to the industrial complex.
All right. So you all spread out to your various and sundry locations. It doesn't take most of you terribly long to get where you're going. The longest trip, of course, is over to the Bronx. It depends if you're driving, though. You can always jump. There's,
No, driving
couple-
because I'm taking Neva and I'm not gonna like wear like a freaking backpack. So
Oh, come on, it'll be fun.
undignified.
Okay. Yeah, well, getting from from where you are to the fish market, it's not terrible because there's, of course, the highway that runs straight up and around, and so you don't have too many
Yeah.
blocks to travel through.
But yeah, I am dead serious though. I will be there's a fish market right there on the point. So yeah, that's
They can't hang out in the fish market. There's not going to be
Yes.
any lozenge today, right?
I can confirm nor deny that. Just make your own
Why is there
sushi.
why is there a whole tuna in the freezer?
Because Mama
She
gotta
wanted
eat.
sushi.
Salmon.
Tuna's a little hard to conceal.
So you guys spread out, and by the time that it's getting around noon, you're all in your positions, keeping an eye on the goings on Rikers Island. So Rikers Island, of course, is a fascinating place full of largely prison facilities originally, and a couple other things going on, but really the prison facilities are the biggest thing on it. So the big things that you first notice is the large caravan of wagons and other things has moved in to all of the empty space that is on the island, which is largely things like, service area, and just generally there was some unused space on it. And of course, all the places where they would have, prisoners hang out and just, jam around and not bother anybody aside from stabbing each other. It's all the time whenever they have a beef or whatnot. So all of that space is now occupied with various and sundry wagons. They've put a big corral in for the various animals that they have, which, includes at least a dozen elephants and a good score or two of horses. So just lots of stuff going on the island. Of interesting note, though, some of the things that you get to see. So from the north, actually fairly close to the fish market, so this works out pretty well. There is a fairly empty area. Personally, I have no idea what it's used for. It's just green. So there they are starting to assemble the big top on the northern part of the island. And that thing looks monstrous. Like there's a huge team of people hammering stakes, and strangely enough, the people hammering stakes look like old-timey muscle men with the stripy shirts and the handlebar mustache and these gigantic wooden mallets that they're just hammering stakes into the ground with one after another. People are rolling out this just titanic white and red striped canvas that's easily you have to figure the size of, maybe you could fit like 4 football fields inside of this thing, because of course I like to use the American style of measurement. So football fields,
Anything but
Empire State
metric.
Buildings, and yes,
That is
of
a
course.
DFP.
Yes, it is. There's large timbers being hauled around everywhere that are going to apparently hold this thing up. So there's a whole lot of people coordinating and working on that effort. So it seems like most of the other stuff has not yet gotten unpacked, but there are a few other smaller tents here and there starting to get erected. So that's most of what you're seeing going on there. There are a lot of people who are working for the circus, apparently. Just dozens and dozens of folks. And the other interesting thing is none of them are dressed up as just ordinary people. People look like they are carnies or mimes or clowns or strongmen or fortune tellers. They're already dressed up for the work while they're putting this tent up, which is fairly impressive.
And probably also means that
So-
the Circus King already has them under his spell. Right.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh,
So
just
from
as
the top-
this is a little bit of a side note, because I pulled up the map in the satellite view of Rikers Island. The road that goes around the perimeter, at least on the east side of it, is called Widow Road.
Nice.
Yeah.
So from LaGuardia, once again, you have a fairly large area with a lot of empty space on it before the one large prison complex. So this is the side where the animals are being kept. So you're checking it out, and indeed, there are just tons of animals. You see the aforementioned elephants, just tons of horses around. Most of them were the ones pulling the various and sundry wagons, because they were being pulled in by the elephants and by the teams of horses. They're all corralled off in their own sections, and then you have just lines and lines and lines of cages. And in the cages, of course, you see all sorts of wild animals, including things like tigers and leopards and anything that looks big and hideously hazardous. They have a few of them.
The mayor.
Like, just be careful about going to the cougar section.
Yeah.
They'll do more than just maul you. So that's and they of course have a fairly good number of people who are managing all of these animals, dressed up with the tall riding boots and their whips, and some of them are carrying chairs around with them to poke at the various things that are in the cages for reasons they're not even performing at the moment, but there you go. And of course, feeding these things. There's so much food being brought in. Just like piles of meat that are getting tossed to the cats and all sorts of stuff, and some barrels of beer for the elephants. You're kind of worried about that if you know anything about history.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
Thankfully, Crash does not.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
So, from the water treatment plant, this is where things start getting a little different. So, you're positioned pretty close to where the bridge going across is, the Francis R. Buono Memorial Bridge. I do not know who that person is. I should look him up at some point. Because if they're going to name the Rikers Island Bridge after you, that's gonna you had to have done something interesting. So over there, of course, you see parking lots, and some of the lower security prison section is in the one part there. The bunch of the wagons are paraded throughout the parking lots. The prison blocks, on the other hand, are you're seeing something interesting happening because some of the strongmen and other types look like they are dismantling them. So one of the wings is, in pieces as we speak, and the rubble is being moved over into large piles. And so you have these big guys just carrying these gigantic blocks of stuff and tossing them around like it's nothing because, they're old timey strong men from a really creepy circus. So of course, they're going to be able to lift a little bit too much stuff. And so they're starting to break apart the existing infrastructure on the island. So that's one of those curious things that's going on the island that, of course, you can see from the water treatment plant. You also will take note that there are a bunch of people keeping an eye on the Rikers Island side of the bridge, just kind of camped out there. Probably to make sure nobody drives down the road to get there. Although, let's see. Yeah, from where you are, you can actually tell, though, that the bridge from the side near you is also cut off. There's a parking lot right before the bridge, and there's a bunch of pylons in front of the bridge just to let people know this is not public land anymore. Don't drive here, please.
Yeah,
so,
private property. So, I mean, they just sort of casually keep an eye on it, or does it look like they're actual guards? How blatant are they being about that?
They're fairly blatant. It is a crew of about 20 carnies. All of them are carrying knives and look really, really skeevy.
That was redundant.
As part of their day job that, they run carnival games that nobody can win unless they have superpowers. And even then, some people can't win them.
Right.
Just geometrically impossible. Just one of those things that happens.
I think that's my cue.
So, and then, of course, we have the view from the industrial park. And here you see something kind of interesting. On one corner of the island, near one of the sort of office complexes where staff from the various agencies that used to work there are, is set up one of those business trailers that you'll find on a work site. It's a fairly new one, strangely enough. It has, instead of like the usual air conditioner sticking out the window, it has some kind of complicated stuff on the roof of it. And the Circus King is hanging out outside of its door. Just kind of hanging out, just watching what's going on. Then eventually the door opens and out steps, you would never believe it, your good friend Will.
This whole never believe, I think that's starting to change a bit. I think I'm starting to believe it a bit more.
I do not think it means what you think it means.
So Will walks out and starts talking to the Circus King. And you're watching this happen.
This is just Will.
Yes.
Okay.
He is not Erebus. This is Will. You're mild-mannered, very ordinary-looking person that you know. The Circus King looks like the Circus King. Like, straight out of a nightmare. And if it weren't so sunny out, you'd be kind of worried about him, like, just turning and looking at you right through the binoculars. But, it's daytime, so you're not too terrified of him. And so that they're talking for a bit, and, some nodding and stuff goes. And then Circus King produces a paper and he's pointing at some stuff. And, the conversation carries on some more. And then Circus King pulls out a bag. On the bag is a S with a line through the top of it that suspiciously looks like it's something you would hold just a ton of money in. Hands it over to Will, who looks at it, weighs it a few times. They shake hands, and Will goes back into his trailer.
Why do I get the feeling that the order of magnitude just got a new recruit?
And they're recruiting from a Saturday morning cartoon.
Well,
No,
either that or, a 1930s movie.
more like a Saturday night Elvira festival.
Well, yeah.
So,
Elvira's
do
got
you
better
have-
taste.
Do you have the nice binoculars that have a camera on them?
Yeah.
So I figure that might be something that Jack would pick up. Are you going to take pictures of the transaction happening between them?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm
So-
wondering, isn't Will rich? Like,
Independently, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
But,
So,
who-
so what
yes.
does he need with money unless, there's some sort of laundering going on?
Or unless he just spent a whole ton of money. And do remember, he is kind of weird about the money he has because it is money that, in actuality, Shift earned
Right.
by, extending the lives of extraordinarily rich people in exchange for absolutely everything they own. How this guy's a hero, no one's quite sure, aside from the fact that he can, cure heart disease and is working on cancer.
Right.
He's the good guys,
Anyone
really.
hero these days.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's a checkbox on a form. I mean, when you fill it out, hero. Yes.
Yeah.
So can I
It says so on your ID.
can I sneak my way in and see if I can get up to the trailer? I don't want to be up to
Okay.
Circus King. I want to go around the other side, see if there are any windows I can look in or anything.
All right. So, since you are at the airport, how far can you fly and or jump?
I can run. I can run a very long distance every round.
Let's see. So, your options are you can try to, you can go all the way around off of the airport, back into town, run across the bridge, and then head over to that corner.
Yeah.
Eminently doable. Or the short version is, since you are on the airport, you can go down the one runway where it skirts surprisingly close to the river. I think it's about 100 feet across. So
Yep.
you could probably, traveling at a good clip, make most of the jump. You'll probably end up getting wet, but then you'll dry off as soon as you start running again.
Yep.
Oh, well, hello.
So yeah, we're gonna try that. I think we
Okay.
can count this as getting a running start.
You have a literal runway.
Yep.
Actually, if you go kind of diagonally along the corner of the runway and then make the leap off,
Yep.
let's see.
Looks to be
I'm
at
trying
its,
to just.
yeah, looks to be at its closest. I'd say about 150 feet,
Okay.
at least from the map I'm looking at.
Wait, where is this map?
I'm literally
Just
looking at a
Google.
Google map of Rikers Island.
Oh, dear God. Okay, could have done that. Sorry. I'm like, my God, where is this detail coming from? Shit.
The
The
Googs.
Googles.
The Googs.
The Googs.
That was weird. My Zoom crashed.
Ooh.
Nope.
Oh, yep.
Oh.
Put you back.
Sorry
in.
about that.
There you are. Okay.
No problem. Things happen.
Oh.
So yeah, what mechanically is involved in trying that?
I'm trying to think, because that would be an athletics roll of some sort. So I'm trying to think if that's probably a speed thing and not a might thing. Largely in that you want just to kind of launch off the edge of the runway and let your speed carry you as far as you're going to go. So it's basically doing a long jump.
Okay.
So, but on the other hand, 150 feet is a hell of a long jump. But it's you, so let's say that's a pretty intimidating thing to do. So a target of 6.
And this is speed or might?
This will be speed.
So can I argue for might and have the speed be assets to the roll? Because at the end of the day, this is, the running is giving me basically momentum, but jumping is still a strength-based thing.
Let's see. You know what? Yeah, we can do it that way if you'd like.
So, might difficulty 6.
Yes.
Okay. Can I get 2 assets for my very, very much running start?
Oh, certainly. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's perfectly flat. Couldn't find a better place to run.
Yep. Okay, so base difficulty 6, might. I've got 2 assets, and I'm going to spend 2 levels of effort, which will cost me a sum total of 1 might point, to bring it down to a difficulty 2. There you go.
Woohoo!
Yep.
Okay, so you line yourself up and measure it kind of like cats do when they're about to jump, and then you tear across, leap over, hit the ground. You have to do a shoulder roll because otherwise you wouldn't look impressive doing it even if you are invisible. And then come to your feet up on Widow Road. And now it's just a matter of running around the island over to so let's see, what's the closest thing that's actually on the map that's label wise. Let's see, it is on the if you're looking at the map, there's a thing that says Supply NYC. So it's at the corner of the island just to the west of that.
Okay.
So the road goes right there, and then you just have this lot that has currently a bunch of storage containers. And right now it just has the, one container that contains, what office is being used by Will here. So you managed to get up to it.
Yeah, I am going to I'm gonna be all sneaky like, and because I took might edge as an improvement, phase sprinting with invisible phasing is currently free for me because it's 4 might and 1 speed, and that's exactly what my edges are. So yeah, I'm gonna I wouldn't say lounge around the place, but between being specialized in stealth, getting 2 assets from invisible phasing, and 2 assets from my deck shifts, anything less than a difficulty 6 stealth check, I auto pass.
Excellent.
So I'm not really that concerned about being seen.
But being detected, on the other hand, might be a little trickier.
Well, yes. And that's, his overconfidence is his weakness.
So Circus King has, at this point, started wandering off to go oversee the people who are smashing down buildings.
Okay.
And you're impressed that they're mostly using large wooden mallets and mauls to knock the buildings apart. It does not look like the safest way to dismantle a building, and it doesn't seem like it would be super effective, and yet it is.
Yeah.
They're doing a pretty good job with this. So he wanders off a bit, which is good because he's kind of freaky. You peek into the window of the trailer, which has there's not a whole lot inside of it. It's mostly a desk. There's a refrigerator, not even a full-size one, but there's his desk, has a laptop on it, a lamp, and sitting in the middle of the desk is, there's of course a couple chairs and some pegs to hang your work clothes. And on the desk, of course, is this burlap sack with a $sign stenciled onto the side of it, and he is opening it up.
Okay. I will watch.
So he opens it up, and inside, it turns out, is not money, but bars of metal.
Okay. Is there enough light that that I can try to recognize
Oh.
what they are.
How good is your eyesight?
Well, let's see. I am trained in perception.
Excellent, because this sounds like something you would have to make a perception roll for.
Okay. What am I looking at?
So to
Wait.
identify this will be challenging because it's a fairly uncommon thing to see.
Okay, so that's 5.
Yes.
I really can't afford. I don't have all that much intellect to play with, so I'm just gonna roll it straight. Trade makes it a 4, and I get a 13.
Woot! All right. So this is really, really fascinating to you. There are a couple different metals.
Okay.
There is and most of them are fairly small, like on the outside. There are a couple of iridium, and the rest seem to be palladium and silver. So they all look kind of similar to each other.
Yeah.
So had you failed, you just guess it's probably silver.
Yeah.
But no, there's also palladium and iridium being handed over to him. And he's going and stacking them up and checking them.
Okay. I assume, I'm assuming since we've been chatting this whole time that we have comms that will, earbud comms or something.
Yeah, I think
Indeed, Jack.
Always.
Jack provided you with
Yes.
those.
Hey, brain boy. Riddle me this.
Okay.
What would iridium, palladium, and silver bars be used for together?
Together. That's interesting. I mean,
The most extensive game of Jenga ever.
I'm assuming they're not making catalytic converters.
That would be
Palladium.
platinum.
What's that? No, palladium gets used for it too. They're. It's one of those, weird. I forget what. Speaking as Matt, not Jack, but it's one of those weird transitional metals, or it's not transuranic, but those are all in a specific group, and they're hard and rare.
Yes, that one of the things is that iridium and palladium are extraordinarily rare. Well, iridium can be found pretty much everywhere because most of it is in a layer from a catastrophic collision with the planet at one point that
Right.
scattered iridium everywhere. So if you find like a fountain pen with an iridium nib, the iridium could have come from literally anywhere. But it's said kind of an unusual material. It's not used for a whole lot of things that you know of.
They're all antibacterial.
No.
Yeah, palladium's in the same family as nickel and platinum.
Right.
Okay.
Iridium with
Way too much science. Read the like.
Yep.
Neva's actually pulled out her tablet as she's listening to this and is like Googling, trying to. Seriously, I'm Googling it.
The Circus King just handed over a huge bag of it to Will.
Okay, that's weird. I doubt he's building, car parts, or expensive fountain pens.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably more likely that it's gonna go to some sort of engineering thing that our little robotics genius is going to, is up to.
Yeah, they're. So can I do because again, the player versus the character, I'm drawing blanks. I think maybe palladium got used in one of the cold fusion experiments that, because those metals are catalysts for various reactions. So can I
fuel cells to power a host of things, including cars and fuel cells? Yeah, I could see her making power.
Right. So can I make some sort of knowledge roll or like identifying objects or calling to mind a minor detail or bit of trivia?
Why, yes, indeed you can. Let's see. Is that one of the skills you do not need to roll for?
That is a skill. That's just a skill.
Okay, so
uh,
let's say this is going to be a difficult roll, so target 4.
So I'm going to pop open the little roll thing, base difficulty 4. Okay. The intellect shift should.
Yep, intellect shift. We'll work on that.
Yes. All right, so that's a difficulty of 3. Then,
Yes.
All right, and we'll just, because it's in my ballpark, add a level of effort to it. And all right.
So
This seems like a waste of rest from chance, but screw it.
There you go.
Okay, so there's a couple interesting applications that you know of. Is that iridium is very much sought after by people who do ultratech because one of the things is generally non-reactive. So if you
Right.
create something that is incredibly reactive, you need something to kind of border it and whatnot. And so it may be used for something like that. Now, the palladium, on the other hand, there's a really fascinating thing is that it makes, once again, it is not a terribly reactive material, and it is sometimes used for electrical or other energy contacts. Now, other energy, of course, is not real life.
Right.
But of course, we do not, are not operating in regular science here. So it is used for contacts for making basically electronics that use high electricity inside of an environment where the environment might not be terribly friendly.
Right.
And silver, on the other hand, silver has this wonderful trait that although it will oxidize like nobody's business, it is also remarkably conductive, more so than copper is. So if somebody wanted to make some incredibly conductive wiring, something like silver would make sense because, well, if you can keep it from tarnishing and thus, losing some of its efficacy that way, it strings into remarkably thin wire that can carry a lot of electricity through it. Or once again, possibly other energies.
Right. So this sounds like that it's being used as, some sort of control components for, some sort of high energy application. Is, so I relay the, the properties and, so incredibly hostile environments. So like, the inside of a topomac or something like that.
or possibly where Eddie's from.
Or where Eddie's from. There's that. Yeah.
So
Interesting.
I've been thinking. why out here?
Well, yeah.
Why are they setting
And
up so far away? I mean, the circus usually sets up the outskirts of town, but this is taking it literally far.
well, yeah, and we're using like, old timey wax mustachio,
Oh, that's his shtick. You'll get used to that.
yeah. I don't think, there was some very rare, you know, elements that were forged in a supernova just lying around Rikers Island. Just, um, so where they got this stuff and why Will's using them to source it is kind of bizarre.
So, Patrick, I forget exactly what the order took from the dark base.
So they took 2 decay generators that use some sort of high-end atomic decay in order to generate power. So those you don't know where those are right now. They just kind of disappeared.
Right.
Hopefully they didn't overheat and explode anywhere populated.
No,
So-
I have a feeling that these elements and that tie in together.
Yes.
So whether or not he's trying to recreate a gate like he was trying to do at Dart or what?
So far, he's got things that are capable of generating a lot of power. Something that's capable of transmitting a lot of power. And something that's capable of, if I'm understanding your science gobbledygook correctly, something that is able to shield something of a lot of power from something that may want to interfere with it. That sound about right?
I think I've got it. He means to write his name on the moon.
Thanks, Vector.
Well, he's going to do it, because where there's a will, there's a way.
Oh,
Oh,
damn.
Yeah, but Will doesn't start with CHAR.
So one interesting thing, Gene, you do happen to have realized something about Will in your couple of travels with him now.
yeah.
If anybody doesn't need a interdimensional gate of some sort, it's him, because he can just travel it himself. He took you to somewhere that's certainly not, local or, within our reality by all likelihood. And he also pulled you out of the void after you would step through it.
He was also looking for his other half, he said. In
Yeah.
our last
Which
friendly encounter.
adds to my actual suspicion that to address Crash's concern, the reason why they are where they are is to make sure they have plenty of room for when the circus is no longer going to be a circus and is either going to be some kind of transport, weapon, or both.
Oh, goody.
Think bigger.
Now, Rikers Island is not an insubstantial hunk of land. And as you'll recall, it has recently been purchased, and not in parts.
Right.
Think about this.
Our friend Will.
So they're going to turn Rikers Island into, Bioshock Infinite's Columbia?
No.
Going to have a
We're
floating...
still looking to determine motive and exactly why they're hiring the Circus King and getting his minions with other than just sheer amount of labor they can get.
Jack,
Right.
do you think these elements could be used to put together a power?
That's fairly good guess.
Because what happens if the Circus King can get his claws into everyone in Excelsior at once?
I'm assuming that's a bad thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mind control, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but what's the benefit for Will out of that angle? I mean, I can see how that would be tempting for the Circus King as a recruitment thing. But what does Will get out of this besides, mustache twirling evil?
It's probably not Will himself, but what Will needs or who Will knows.
Okay, again, a guy who can, teleport infinitely between sheafs in the manifold of the multiverse itself.
Mm-hmm.
What does he
So-
need that he can't get?
That's exactly it. What can't he do? What is he missing?
What does Eddie say?
And I internally ask, what do you got, Eddie?
Eddie thinks for a minute. You can tell because you can hear him thinking. Except it's that weird stuff going on. You're like,
I was going to say, it's like, that's not okay. I mean, sure.
and he pauses for a second and then says, "Why are any of us here?"
Because we're here, roll the bones. When you mean us, are you talking about you, my humble, benevolent occupant? Or
Yes.
all of us?
Oh, me, Nebula. Why are we here?
Was there some
There was
weird
something.
alien symbiote diaspora going on?
So there's something that Eddie and his ilk need of us for even being here in the first place. This also
We can't-
resonates with Will.
We can't exist here without you.
They need a host body. Because the environment.
Oh, son of a bitch.
All right. So are you getting
Relocation program.
With all of a sudden a huge metropolis full of willing hosts. Courtesy of the Circus King.
Yeah, that's grim.
It's not good. Bad.
Yeah.
And if that
Generally-
wasn't what Patrick is planning, it certainly is now.
Oh, wait for it.
Oh, I know.
Oh, wait for it. It's lovely things to hear from your GM.
Mm-hmm.
Although that said, always be afraid of feeding your GM ideas.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. It gives good story potential.
I am never afraid of giving the GM story ideas.
Yeah, I
Look at
mean,
this shit too much.
yeah, I've been on the other side of the fence too, and I love moments like this. So yeah, this is apparently our pay grade. Stop a massive brainwashing and transdimensional alien
Relocation.
Yeah.
Influx. Maybe. Or he could just want to make a really bright billboard.
Or Nebula just wants to be loved.
Is that so wrong?
Well, what they don't know is that I actually gave the guy Crash's phone number.
Okay.
Oh, oh, that's beautiful.
Good boy.
Awesome. All right. So once you're done with your surveillance, where are you guys going to head?
I say we head back to the base.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a conversation that should be had in Sunbucks.
No.
Yeah.
No.
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 Or over comms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, having some alcohol handy might be.
Yes.
Okay. So as Black Ice and Paw are packing up, interestingly, and to no one's surprise, some of Paw's family shows up and kind of walks over to see what you're up to. Because y'all are just kind of hanging at the edge of the fish market with some binoculars, watching what's going on. And one of you is feeding fish scraps to the crows who are is trying to migrate their way over in this direction. They're like, hey, there's a fucking fish market over here. Damn it.
I kind of elbow pause. I see her family start walking up.
Okay, is this like close family or more?
These are some of your friends. So you
Okay.
have Harpy and Zola wander over,
Okay.
seeing what's going on.
Hi.
Oh, hey. So, doing anything fun today?
Just doing some observation of some new residents in the neighborhood, and I kind of nod my head over towards Rikers Island, and
You're seeing the first parts of the tent starting to pop upwards. Meanwhile, Harpy's kind of like checking out the crows over here, like,
they're with us.
I don't know if I like this.
They are with us. I point at me and Neva. Do not eat the ravens or the crows.
My family.
Crows don't taste good anyway.
Knox makes an obnoxious noise towards her.
I remembered. Well, yeah, the local Knox, because main Knox is, of course, flying
Right.
around the island, just watching what's going on, as you can do when you're a crow.
Oh, look. Circus peanuts. Oh, God. These don't taste like peanuts? Oh.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing ever. I'm gonna poop on someone's head. Hang on a second.
Why? No, really, why?
I like the circus. Circuses are fun. Watching the big,
Yeah,
the
this
big top
one
coming
not.
up.
Yeah, no, this one not so much. No, can't be trusted.
Aw, come on. But we never get a circus out here. And besides, what are they going to do to us?
I don't know. Possess you. Mind control.
Okay, a mind control circus might be a problem.
Yeah.
But they do have rides. I think it's a Ferris wheel over there. I wonder if they're going to put that up.
No. No.
And speaking of which, since of course you have, snuck a couple of salmon and potentially some other fish along with you, the cats in the area, because there are a lot of cats around the fish market, are paying a lot of attention to you, of all people, because
No, I actually take one that, and okay, my personal knowledge, because I can't eat fish. I'm not sure which kind of fish this would be, but one where the skin tends to be on for a raw fish tends to be on the slightly thinner side, so that I can actually rip chunks of raw fish off and actually toss it to the cats, kind of like you're feeding the pigeons, but instead
Salmon.
I
Yeah.
am feeding.
Salmon.
Yes, I am feeding fish pieces to the cats, and then and when most of it's gone, putting the carcasses down for them to pick clean and what have you. And I go through a whole bunch of them, make sure that everybody gets fed, especially the little ones.
Yeah. Salmon flakes nicely along the fat lines.
Yeah, yes, and I do actually at one point stop and say, make sure you take some back for the babies. Because there's kittens someplace.
Yes.
So.
All right. So then you get back in the Hummer and drive back. At some point, you guys might want to invest in a less conspicuous vehicle. But on the other hand, you driving around in a Humvee is not the weirdest thing about the Humvee part of it. Is not the weirdest thing. It's probably the cat driving a Humvee.
Okay, so less conspicuous.
Big, huge
so
Queen's coronet on top of it.
Yeah, so like one of the yellow cab, like SUV or like minivan taxis. Would that be less conspicuous?
Just about anything would be less conspicuous.
Okay, let's go steal Ecto 1 next.
And you do have parking spots, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so you all make it back to your secret lab. Down in the basement of your building.
And yes, I detour to the kitchen to drop off the rest of the fish into the freezer.
Oh, yes,
and,
of course.
And wash my paws.
As you walk past the trophy room, you hear, and it doesn't seem to bother anybody else, but you have cat ears. You're hearing this really soft, very high-pitched sound coming from the trophy room.
And I go in and it's like, can I?
And you're looking around, and then you figure out exactly where it's coming from almost immediately, because of course your ears give you good directional hearing. It's coming from the storage case where the 2 orange pieces of rock are.
Oh shit, I think they're talking to each other. Jack! Need you!
What?
I think the orange rocks are talking to each other. I think we might need to separate them.
Okay, well, might need to.
They don't look any different than they did before. They're still just kind of sitting in each in their side of the containment facility inside each of their own little cubbies.
Right. Do we need to put them in separate containment things? I thought that would have been a better idea, but.
Well, they're in separate parts of the same containment unit, so they can't physically touch each other unless they somehow break through the partitions.
Yeah, I don't know if we have to figure this out right now, but yeah, I think.
Although you do have a very nice broken coffee mug that you can put one of them into again.
Yeah, so that's gonna, of course, shield it from any trans-dimensional radiation that may be leaking from these things. Sure. Hey, Gene, do you want to, call up Will and see if he can loan us some palladium? I mean, iridium.
Just out of
Let me get right on that.
Maybe just
Sheets
some
of lead might do a
lead.
good trick.
I was going to say maybe some lead.
Well, if you want to be basic, sure.
Which point I kind of look over at the Humvee going, isn't that thing armored?
Indeed, it does have armor plating on it.
Okay, so we put one of the rocks into the mug and put the mug into the Humvee for now and see what happens just separating them.
No, I was thinking
no,
taking
hold
a
on.
piece of armor off of it.
No, here. Pull out the tools. Door. Oh, Jesus. All right. Paw, hand, paw, digit.
She just wandered off to the bathroom.
She's a cat.
She headed off to the litter box.
She lost
this,
interest.
Spree as Jack's dragging the door, back door of the Humvee over to the containment thing.
I thought maybe just taking a piece of the armor off, not dismantling the truck completely.
They're welded on.
Jeez.
Dunk.
Sorry. Yeah. Actually, you would not have wanted me to actually try to help move that because I actually have an inability for moving, bending, or breaking things.
Okay.
It's one of those. She's really tough and she's strong in her attacks, but yeah.
Noodly little arms.
Which makes it a lot of fun when she needs to, stock shelves at the bodega.
Right. Nothing over a 5-pound weight limit. Yeah.
Meanwhile, I kid you not, Crash is sitting here with a might edge of 4.
Just kind of watching.
Oh my gosh.
Just kind of watching
Yeah.
as Jack is dragging this armored.
Because we have yet to sit down and discuss what all we can do.
Yep.
Well, not everybody knows, what they can do themselves.
Still.
Well, if the bloody circus hadn't come to town.
Downtime? What's that?
Then you'd be bombing on your date.
I wouldn't have had to have gone because it wouldn't have been an issue yet.
You still got a couple nights.
Put it off for longer.
I was gonna say, she's been hitting on you for months, dude.
Yeah, and I've survived this long. It's just...
It's not a thing to survive, man.
Dude.
How awful was your last sexual experience, man?
We're not talking about that. And inside, I hear Eddie, whatever his version of no.
And shoulder guys coming along for the ride.
All right. Can somebody help me wrestle this thing in to partition our singing stones here?
Sure. I'd be happy to. Seeing how has it helped me, pull myself together. So I go over to help Jack.
So if you are trained or specialized in something that would assist here, then you would give him 2 assets. If not, you would give him 1.
What do I need?
Just like you've got a strength. Do you have a strength shift?
Speech. No, flight, healing, resilience, and release.
Okay.
But you're not going to get any release for at least 2 nights.
Ouch.
And now the GM gets involved.
Yep.
Good God Almighty.
Yeah. So I think both Gene and I go over and help Jack. So Jack, you've got 2 assets to moving this shit.
Okay. Are you gonna make me roll for this, Patrick, or?
Yeah, we probably should. Just for completeness. So let's make this a target 4.
For might or something else?
For might.
Okay.
Because what you're trying not to do is break anything.
Right.
with the large armor-plated door that you're carrying around.
I would say that his balance and careful movement would come into play here. Specifically, the
Yes.
careful movement part.
And not landed on your foot.
Yep.
Or break the case. So those are the two big ones.
Okay, and 2 assets for the help.
Yes.
See, you wasted the
Ooh.
roll on busting into my damn phone.
Hey, you know, when Calamity calls you and, you know, the Divinals start singing as the ringtone, it's going to be worth it.
So the question is, does someone want to spend an XP to let you to have you re-roll that? It could be anyone, or do you just want to take the intrusion and see what crazy shit Patrick throws at us?
All right, Patrick, do your worst.
Oh boy.
So you're maneuvering the door, and a calamitous series of events occurs. It's of course starting to get a little heavy, so you decide to put your corner of the door down. It slips out of Jean's hands, lands on your foot. And as soon as you go, say a few expletives and whatnot, you lose track of where the rest of it is. It falls forward and crashes into the fairly delicate containment unit.
Can I make some sort of roll to try to intercept this thing?
Narrowly, by the way, missing the jar with the brain material in it. So you're very happy about it. You're like,
Abby, no!
Oh, good. All right, so you managed to keep that from breaking and ignore the fact that the
Crash.
space between
Tinkle.
the two mysterious orange rocks disappears in a shattering of glass. And then you get to see something that was precisely what you were trying to avoid in the first place. Is that the two pieces vibrate a little bit and then are pulled together magnetically or something, pink into each other's proximity. They don't touch each other, but they are hovering near each other in a fairly locked position. And then after that happens, just drops back down onto the inside of the containment unit.
Well, shit.
Do you want to grab them and try to pull them apart?
No.
I mean, so we'll say we've already determined that Jean can handle them.
I could.
Paw can.
There we go. Each of you take one and try to,
So,
pull
Okay.
them apart.
Let's see what happens.
Need you here. As I say, through gritted teeth. And so I grab one. I grab the larger chunk.
I grab the other piece. Patrick, do we need to roll?
No, you do not need to roll because they don't separate at all.
No, they're
And they're like, you don't know what force is keeping them in position, but it is way stronger than anything you can muscle them apart with.
What else is it doing just besides being chummy with each other?
Glowing orange. And it's weird in that they are locked into proximity with each other, but they are not touching each other. So as you're moving it around, they're still like exactly the same, centimeter or two apart from each other, but they cannot be rotated apart. It's as if they are part of a solid object that's not there.
right. So, there's other pieces that go in those spaces.
Does
it? Go ahead.
Is the humming? Is it getting louder? Has it stopped, or is it the same?
So once it drops back onto the table, it stops humming. Yeah. So once they had locked into position, it grew quiet again and is just glowing the same orange it always does.
Hey then.
Okay, well,
I love a 1. 1s are great.
I guess we can put the door back on the car then.
Sure.
Hey, Jack.
Does it look like with the two pieces in proximity, like two pieces of a puzzle, does it resemble anything more cohesive as more of a whole than either piece did on its own?
I was just about to ask Jack the same thing.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure that
You kind of guess, given its shape, where the facets are now facing, that a little bit of the one has a little bit of a curve to it. And you're thinking that this probably is originally like some sort of, complete curve shape, like a ball or an egg or something like that. And given that, you're thinking something that's roughly softball shaped and about that size.
okay, so
And you had kind of have two parts of it, the one of which kind of more of an edge piece and the other part somewhere on the other side, but towards the inside of it.
So there's more.
there's more. There seems to be, more possibly rotated out of this dimension that, is the whole. Because math is weird, but
Any chance that by Pa and I grabbing it, trying to pull it apart after it sort of fused together, any of chance that any of that energy healed my foot?
Oh no, it didn't land on your foot. It landed on Jack's foot.
Oh, Jack's foot. Okay.
yes.
I thought you said Gene.
Nope.
No, it's because it slipped out of your hands when he decided to put his end down.
Okay. Got it. Then I misheard. I apologize.
Nope. It's all right.
And fortunately, the door apparently did not break your foot. It just hurts.
Yeah.
But that's because you're smart and you wear good boots.
Yeah. Having
Yes.
dropped a butcher block table on my foot before it. Yeah.
Wow.
Didn't break anything that time either. Just hurt a lot.
All right. So you guys finally get to hanging out in your conference room to, compare notes.
Oh, I go and I get an ice pack for Jack's foot. And a pillow so he can put his foot up and, elevate it nice.
And you know exactly where the ice packs are because you had to move them to put the salmon in.
Exactly. Be thankful I didn't bring you an ice salmon to use as an ice pack.
Why do the ice packs smell like fish?
Don't ask.
Something fishy going on here.
Don't ask.
I will murder you if you use the microwave with the salmon. Just
Oh God, no.
there are just some office rules that should be broken.
I come back from the kitchen munching on a Milky Way bar.
I know this name.
Hey, did I hear something break?
I don't want to know.
Just my pride. Just my pride.
Yeah, welcome to my damn world.
You're acting like a date is a sentence with the gallows, man.
Meanwhile, I look over and I notice that Crash's phone has gotten a text message from the dude.
Bing. Now the question is the dude a nice guy or is he a fuckboy?
I don't know.
What does the message say?
Well, is it an image or an actual,
I just could see that he got a text, and I'm assuming it was from
I will absolutely check it. I want to know what I want to know.
So the text message says something along the lines, of course, written, in the way that younger folks write, saying like Bay and FRs and stuff all over the place because who knows what Gen Z is talking about. But basically asks, so what you up to tonight?
I look over and I kind of do this towards in the direction of Neva. About 5'4".
Responds with one too many laughing emojis.
No cap, furl.
Yo fam lol.
Well, okay. Let's try this way. Trying to collect the pieces of a magic stone to thwart a possible interdimensional invasion. You? Question mark.
Oh, I'm hanging out with my friends. We're having a party. We're
Aaron,
gonna watch the circus. We're gonna watch the circus tent go up.
Of course you are. Have fun with that.
Sounds like a keeper.
Yeah, Circle's King will love to keep him.
He served his purpose to us.
Okay. So are we all collected?
Yeah.
Are we all collected at the table?
Yeah,
Yes.
I've sat down. I've kicked my feet up on the table with my big stompy boots, munching at my.
Crash has turned the
Candy
chair
bar.
around and is sitting.
Paul, where have you curled up?
what was that?
Where have you curled up?
Are we still in the main office?
Yeah, we're at the conference table.
Table. I am sitting cross-legged on the end of the table with a small bowl in my hand, and I am eating M&Ms.
And Jack's sitting in a conference chair with his leg up in another one and not quite sure, but he's managed to get both of them spinning. So the leg chair is just orbiting the other, like, binary star.
Yeah.
And he's
So-
got his head back,
All right. I turn to Jack. Jack, your foot okay?
I've had worse. It's not
All right.
broken.
Is the orange thing, anybody hearing anything from our happy little rock?
Nope, it's being quiet now.
Okay. All right.
So did we put it back
So-
somewhere, or is it like sitting on the table?
No, it's the centerpiece.
It's back in
Can we
the
put
containment
flowers in between the fissure?
center. There's just a whole lot more duct tape involved.
I'm making it a point of not being here when Tig shows back up and looks at what we did to the containment unit. Just saying. A girl woman likes fire too much.
Good times.
So, as I'd like to address everybody here, it's come to my realization that while we are doing a fairly decent job of working together and not allowing the shitstorm of the week to spoil our Sunday plans, as it were, We all have questions. We're not completely aware of what we can do, of what each other can do, and how we can make that work in our favor. The thing that made Queen's Guard as good as it was the fact that we knew what each member of the team brought, where that each member of the team needed help, and we had a knowing of what our strengths were in order to complement each other, anticipate each other, and work efficiently and effectively. I would like to start that process with us. And I know some of this is going to feel awkward. I know some of you aren't exactly sure and don't know how to answer. I know some of you flat out don't want to say what you know you can or don't know you can or can't do. But let me lay it on the line like this. If we are going to succeed, dare I say, if we are going to make it out alive, then we need to set our egos at the door, put all of our skills, all of our strengths, all of our quirks, and all of our weaknesses, lay them out on this table, and figure out how this puzzle fits together. Are there any objections?
Nope.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. As a show of good faith, I'll go first.
Oh, so kind of you.
Well, you've seen what I can do with speed. And I'm still not quite sure what kind of in-between it is that I go to. I'd love to find that out, actually. In addition to that, I heal very quickly. As I'm sure you've noticed, even when using my various powers is taking it out of me, I bounce back quickly. Other than that, I've got your pretty standard criminal's toolbox. Lockpicking, stealth, sneaking, that kind of thing. I may be, well, I don't know I don't know what's gonna come next. That's because the invisible thing, that was new. Just kind of keyed into how to do that. So I don't know what else may be coming down the road. But, that's about it for me.
Once something comes into view, if I may turn that phrase, just let one of us know. This is a long journey.
Yep.
And I know because I've been there. And I'm discovering things that I wasn't aware of either. So any other volunteers?
I raise a paw.
Yes, self-referential limb. Yes.
You say, and everyone says you can't pick yourself up by your own bootstraps.
I'm literally built to deal out and take damage in combat. I know that book smart / thinking, through some of the more brainy aspects is not really in my wheelhouse. But not everybody can do everything, so I'm kind of okay with that, but I'm, kind of, pick up some wisdom along the way, and, along with some street smarts to kind of counterbalance that. And yeah.
Okay. Anything that you embody, or have the capability of that you haven't had the opportunity to showcase with our group yet?
Not as, I mean, I'm still learning, for lack of a better term, like with martial arts, with more advanced, you move, having the different attacks and defense all kind of move smoothly and fluidly from one to another. That's something that I need to kind of practice that, so that I'm more effective with being able to both kind of attack and defend myself and others kind of interchangeably. The whole, fast is slow, blah blah blah, yeah, that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you. Who would like to go next?
I guess I
Yes.
can.
Please.
Well, obviously you all know about the cold. It seems that since my last medical checkup where they had that asshole shift there, he did something, and I have noticed that I am able to breathe in any condition, like underwater, in a vacuum. I'm also seem to be a little more radiation resistant, which is something that's kind of weird. I'm also seem to be gaining more ability to make ice in various thicknesses, not just cold, but actual mist as well as ice itself. And I can make it cold enough to shatter metal.
If
That's useful.
I was about to say, if Will and the Circus King and the rest of that ilk are building the doomsday machine we think they might be, those are going to be very, very useful skills.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and I can encase a living creature in ice for to keep them in kind of a suspended animation for a small amount of time. I haven't tried it on humans yet, but I can certainly do it on the city's rat population.
Okay. Is there anything special about your connection with Nox?
No, I mean, that's just kind of developed from being a lonely kid kind of thing, but I've he and I have gained an understanding. Like, I mean, it's clear he understands a level of English, and I do
That is, yeah.
understand do understand to some extent his cause in jeeps and stuff, but it's not magical in nature
Okay. Okay.
that I can tell.
Sure.
Yeah. Crows are crows. You give them pretties and peanuts, and they'll follow you anywhere.
Mm-hmm. All right. Jack, feel like sharing?
Share what I know. I mean, as the brain in the jar might clue you all in, there's bits of me that it's still a mystery. Um, Downtime, certainly gonna run genetic testing on, the sample in the jar over there, see if it comes up on any database. But as far as me, I do math real good. I mean, it's not. Let me try this again. It's not I do math real good. I mean, math is instinctual, it's intuitive. I see math, not just seeing, the light that's refracted off of your skin to register an image on my retina. I can actually see the tensor calculus defining the contours of your body and what you're wearing. If I look hard enough, I know your eigenvalue and I can predict the eigenvector of what you're going to do next.
That sounds like it just sound a lot dirtier.
Oh, it can get really dirty. But anything applied mathematics, I can do.
Which explains why you're such a sharpshooter.
Yeah.
I'll be coming to you for help with my calculus homework. That's for damn sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's little flashes of memory here and there. Solomon Nasenga, I think that was, 3,200 meters. I was in the Belgian Congo. In Serbia, it was Dragan Nikolin, a little bit closer at 2,900 meters, but, that was an urban environment. The shot's a bit harder.
A bit.
Well, there's a bit more math involved.
I'm going to take your word for that. Well, you all have been forthright, to the point, honest. It's greatly appreciated. So, hi, I've been doing this for coming up on 20 to 25 years. I just thought that I was able to take a hit or two, but as it turns out, I can absorb force. At one point, I was able to absorb energy just out of the air and then redirect that. That's why they called me the generator, because they didn't see where I was drawing that from. And it was as if I was just generating it out of thin air. Turns out the air is a little bit thicker than that. I'm able to redirect some of that energy so that I can fly, which is an odd quirk, but I'm not going to really complain about it. It's helped me a bit in the past. And sometime before I got what really pushed me into sticking with this is after I started with the Queen's Guard, there were reports of those same void portals opening up at various parts in Excelsior. One of those opened up close by where we were addressing just typical petty crime. Somebody was trying to rob a store and use their powers simply to just get the money and take off. And then next thing I know, Ziggy and I both, Ziggy was our leader, we are out. We are knocked out, have no idea what hit us. Turns out it's when I got Eddie. That's when that symbiote, I have no idea why me, why then, but it was just sort of in the background, and I knew that it could enhance my powers. And it wasn't until we gathered here and I was able to get through whatever was botching the signal and actually communicate with it. So I don't know where that's going to go yet. I have no idea, and honestly, kind of scares the ever-loving shit out of me, especially looking at what's going on Rikers Island. And that's my story, as best as I can share it with you so far. I think that once we figure out what's going on, what is really going to do us some good is that we're going to need some playtime together. And we're going to need to train. We're going to need to experiment. We're going to need to figure out how we can combine our strengths, our skills, if you'll let me use the word, our gifts, and become bigger and more effective and more powerful than any one of us simply on our own. Got to put that fun plan on hold right now, though, because I really don't trust circuses.
Well, John Wayne Gacy did ruin the whole clown thing, so.
Among other people. So, you did good recon work out there. Make sure you buy some more nuts and shiny rocks. We got to pay up. That's not something I want to get behind on.
No.
And think on everything that we saw. Think about these pieces of this particular puzzle. We got to keep working on how they fit together and see how we can get more intel. Because when we decide that something needs to be done, we're going to have to act precisely. This is going to require surgical precision, and it is going to require the combination of our efforts in order to make sure things don't go boom in a bad way.
So here's a question and a possible idea. I'm assuming that the orange doodads put out some kind of energy, some kind of radiation, some kind of something, right? I mean, anything that glows like that must.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we know that they have the ability to empower certain individuals,
They
including
empower some, they debilitate others. So, yes, there is definitely a field that interacts with every living creature to some extent.
Now, I think between you, Gene, and Jack, I'm sure that two minds like yours that know a whole lot about energy could probably figure out some way to scan for it, detect it. Make
that's,
your own little Geiger counter.
that's
Hmm.
certainly
Maybe,
something talk over with Tink about. Yeah.
maybe call in a favor from Tink, because it looks like we've got a puzzle on our hands.
Yeah.
And it
Sort of.
sounds a whole lot like we need to find the pieces before they do.
Speaking of pieces, when you're looking at the bars that Will was given, were they cast? Were they like ingots, or what form were they in?
Yes, they were small ingots. They were all stamped. So
Did I
they
have
came out of some sort of production facility that makes them.
Did I happen to
No.
see anything about what the stamp was?
Um, Not a whole lot other than, like the identifier of what it is, its weight, which, kind of depends on the size of each one.
Sure.
And but the small print on it was, just too small to catch.
Yeah, looking for something along the lines of a maker's mark.
Right, or a production serial number.
Yeah, like, well, with a you might be able to sort out the maker's mark if you saw it again.
Okay.
And honestly, there's only so many places that can stamp out like a ounce of iridium.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That those sorts of facilities have to be rare, and if some material went missing, somebody would know. So either these were purchased and there's some sort of paper trail, or somebody's missing some rather expensive.
Supplies.
Yeah.
Or someone was made to think they were sold. Remember, we are dealing with a hypnotizer here.
Right. So, if somebody's memories and the manifest don't jive, that because he may be good with altering memories, but databases are something entirely different. So unless he had the foresight to make whoever he was talking to cover his tracks, there may be a lead there.
When you've dealt with Circus King more than once or twice, Jack, as I know you're still relatively new, keep this in mind. If there is an angle, he has thought of it. If there is a trail, he has covered it. If there is anything that can link things back to him other than him parading his own ego and that damn cane around town, he will have hidden it. He is thorough. He is ruthless. And he does not care who he has to use to get what he wants. So do not underestimate his ability to cover his tracks.
No, I'm not going to underestimate his, but they're no longer in his possession. They're in Will's. And as we've noticed, Will isn't always the brightest tool in the box.
He is sloppy.
Will is sloppy.
So how about you put that big mathematical brain of yours to work and see if you can figure out maybe where they'll be going or what they'll need next. Maybe we can beat them to the punch.
Sounds like a plan.
And well,
Looks like
when we think we know where they're going, I can certainly let us know what we'll find when we get there.
Definitely sounds like some theoretical stuff and higher mathematics to possibly figure out what would be needed for if we're going on the power amplification angle, what that theoretically would need.
So, the one fault that the Circus King has is, in fact, his own overconfidence. Something we have in common. He is always looking to gain more followers, more servants, more people to do his bidding. That's why I thought of the power amplifier. It is perfectly in his wheelhouse. What that means is that he usually ends up overextending himself.
Well, that's good. And, I've also noticed that, with mindbenders, no matter how subtle the gets, certainly, a large caliber object traveling at, in excess of 2,000 meters per second kind of cramps their style.
That's been tried. More than a few innocent people jumped in the way of the bullets. Like I said, he's ruthless.
I'm going to make a request. Neva, Paul, y'all are two peas in a pod. I love it. Sometimes whenever we split up, the both of y'all pair up, you team up, and you go and you do your thing. I want you both to dig deeper. I want you both, if you're going somewhere, Neva, I want you to watch Pa, what she does. Watch where she gets her strength. It comes by her naturally. She just is. I want you to think about what you bring that you can either emulate that or perhaps even enhance that. Pa, Neva's fresh. Neva's learning. Neva is just figuring stuff out. I want you to look at what you can do with fresh eyes. I want you to see where she's struggling and how you can help her out. About how you can use your just pure understanding, knowing, and how can you communicate that to her? How can you help her? Because the two of you put together can be one unstoppable force. You just have to figure out how it works. Can you try that?
I look over at Pa and rattle off a whole bunch of Hispanic that basically says, yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, nothing is being assembled, activated, deployed, or anything tonight. And so I think that looking at the watch, shit, daylight savings is over. And it's, of course, dark out. Or no, it's like April. Never mind. Wrong.
Wrong universe.
Yep.
Yep, wrong
Yeah.
universe. Different multiverse. I think it's time to clock out. Go. Hang out. Let's I'll see you at Sunbucks tomorrow. Sound good?
I don't know about
The
you.
buildings
I'm
The
staying
building's
here.
PA system, the building's PA system in the wall, of course, starts buzzing because somebody is ringing one of the doorbells.
And I just
Really?
look and we've got a video monitor there, right?
Oh, yes, yes.
So I
It is a
go
fancy
over.
system.
Yes, yeah, that damn well better be a fancy system. We pay for a fancy system. I want a fancy system. I go over to the video monitor, and who should I see but
So interestingly, you see a gentleman who's very well dressed, wearing a suit and an overcoat with a very nice hat, who has no eyebrows or any other hair on his head that you can see, ringing Pa's doorbell.
I'm eyeballing and studying this figure and go, Pa, do you know anybody with alopecia?
I know of people with alopecia. That would be the scions that my family doesn't. There's an ongoing.
And in fact, you met one not too long ago.
That's
Would
right.
you- Any chance
that
you
would
happen
be
to
him.
know one that really dresses spiffy?
Yeah, we've met.
Apparently, he's come a calling for you.
And that
It's
will
like
be it for
Dean's not
this
the
week's
only one with a
episode.
date.
My mother would kill me.
It's just Crash and I, you know.
Yep. All right.
You still got that cheerleader outfit.
Don't you know it?
Excellent.
All right, that was it for issue 18 of the Powers That Be. There goes the neighborhood. We're gonna get out of here, do an after show, and then clock out, as Gene so eloquently put it. So, if you like what we're doing here, give us a like, give us a subscribe, look for us out in the wild world of the social medias. I know that our viewer base is probably small, but hey, we're not doing it for the cash. We're not doing it for fame or anything. We just do it because we're having good fun. So if you're watching this, I hope you're having fun with us. Especially because the next session will be just after the 1-year anniversary of the Powers That Be going live. Powers That Be went live on November 14th of last year. So on the 20th, in 2 weeks, we'll be celebrating our birthday. In the meantime, for Patrick, ECAT, Matt, Julie, and Ray, I am Trevor, the Vitruvian Meeple. Good night, everyone.